So what we're talking about today is popular culture stuff. Movies, news, specifically around entertainment media. 3 hot button ones. We'll start off with the first one. K-pop demon hunters.
Is that how you got your you've been demon hunting? Is that
Yes.
what?
No, this is yeah. I know we've asked for, feedback from the fans and whatnot, then I feel like this is what I get from the comment section sometimes.
That's right.
Not recently.
That's right.
Not recently. No, this is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu, injury from a 13-year-old teenager. So it's not near as cool as it sounds.
They make them big these days, man.
So Prey,
Was he like a good at jujitsu and you were training
dude, he's
with a
the
13-year-old
instructor,
and
the
he
black
was,
belt
like,
instructor's 6 foot tall 13-year-old
Yeah,
son with
6 foot,
he's a monster,
That's
dude.
cool.
85-pound monster.
I know it might be hard to tell here in the screen, but I'm 5'7" and I weigh like $150. So I have to wrestle. I have to roll with 13-year-olds to not get crushed by the monster soldiers that are here on base. Anyway, K-pop demon hunters, not what the black guy's from. If you have kids, especially if they're in school right now, if you have girls, you've probably heard about this movie. You've either probably told your kids there's absolutely no way you're watching that, or maybe you did let your kids watch it, and that's what we're going to talk about. There seems to be some differing opinions about this movie, and this came up.
What's the name of the movie?
K-pop demon hunters.
The movie is titled K-pop Demon Hunters.
That's
So the
correct.
premise of the story is that you have this K-pop band, or girls group, right? So there's 3 girls that sing.
Girl band.
And their song are able to put up a barrier against the Hung Moon, and it keeps the demons away, and the demons are trying to take over the world, and their song is able to put up a barrier, and they're, once
Can't
they
steal souls.
hit their pinnacle and their climax, they can't steal souls anymore, and they win the day. And that's kind of the premise of it. And so the devil essentially attacks the good guys, the girl band, with a boy band of demons. And so
he's been
they essentially
unsuccessful.
are demon hunters.
All right,
this
so we'll
is,
get into the
like,
premise.
popular right
It's
now?
been ridiculously successful.
How
Oh my
It's
God.
like
go
broken
on
records
Spotify
globally.
and look at the most popular bands right now. It's the fake boy band and the fake girl band from this movie. I have
Interesting.
a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old little girl, and we had one of their little friends stay the night, and she was like, "You guys seen K-pop Demon Hunters?" And my kids were like, "K-pop Demon Hunters?"
Did she
And I
say
was
it like that? Like she
Yeah.
was like a drug dealer on a corner?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you do
"Seen
K-pop?
K-pop Demon Hunters?"
you
about
into
K-pop?
K-pop?
She
You
said this.
want to party?
I love her to death, but she's also, she's got one of the little Labubu things. Have you seen these? We could do a
Don't
whole
even
thing
get me
on
started
that.
on Labubu.
You know about
What is
Labubu,
that?
but you don't
I
know
know
about
about
K-pop Demon
Labubu.
Hunters. Comment down below, folks.
know about Labubu.
Do you think that's ridiculous? Because I do.
What's Labubu? I'm like totally
You don't
lost.
know what Labubu is?
Glorious
You need to look up
I don't know.
Pazuzu.
example of a massive
I
amount
know
of
what
wasted
Pazuzu-
money where you should be using your money to feed starving children and advance the gospel and not buy inanimate dolls.
Agreed.
All right.
So, Labubu, Pazuzu, demons that need to be slain by
What is
K-pop.
this world?
Apparently, some people
Well,
believe
The main character in this movie, K-pop Demon Hunters, is a Nephilim.
she is.
Right?
So let me
I
get into the
mean,
details. So this is where the thing is. So there's 2 schools of thought, and here's how I found out about this. So my brother called me. He's like, "Hey man, what do you think about this K-pop Demon Hunters?" Because I just watched this podcast. Shout out to Stories Are Soul Food from Canon. We'll link them down. We'll link this episode down. Actually, we can throw it in the chat here in a second. If you haven't seen that, they're talking about how positive this is, right? And there is some goodness to it, right? Because the whole premise is basically that, the devil in this construct, right, uses shame to control people. So people do bad things, and then shame is what drags them to hell and keeps them there effectively, right? And so
Fascinating.
from on its face, you would think, oh, hey, fighting shame, accepting that evil is part, that you're a sinful person. We all have sin. We all have things in our life, and not living shackled by the guilt of that and the shame of that and moving forward is a generally positive theme. But here's the issue. All of the people who get these marks, so this is how it works, right? Like the demons have these marks on them, and they get them from the shame that they have from, from their sin, right? And so we hear about all these different stories from all these other people about how they got theirs. But Oh yeah, by the way, spoiler alerts. We're gonna spoil this because I'm gonna tell you.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you care to watch it,
never gonna watch
I'm
it.
gonna
I
spoil
know
it.
like 300 million people have been watching
I know, if you
this and
haven't
streaming
seen
this
it
worldwide.
already,
I don't
or
think
if
we're
you're like
spoiling
Nick-
much.
No, it's fair.
And-
But there's gonna be people who are like Pazuzu, Labubu,
Well,
Demon Hunters. I
to
didn't
be
even
fair,
know this was
our
happening.
audience is mostly men on YouTube.
Correct.
They probably have not seen this unless they have daughters.
Nor do you
Just
care.
saying.
So
Like,
I'm just
it's-
gonna tell you what happens.
We're just gonna spoil.
So this girl, she's got these marks, right? Like halfway through or like a quarter of the movie through, you're like, oh, she's got the marks. But we never know why she has the marks, right? But here's the thing. She's hiding it. She hasn't told her best friends or anybody else. She's trying to get that golden hormone up so that way, she can make the marks go away. That's like her whole story arc, right?
Because if you block it off, then all the marks will go away, and she'll be a regular human. She's running from her supernatural
Right. And so,
background. Half
and this is where it kind of breaks down is the reality is this movie promotes a notion of like the things that you've done wrong or the things about you that some people may call wrong, they're just part of you. They're not anything to be ashamed of. So you should just live with them out in the open and celebrate them. So there is no resolution wherein wrong is wrong and right is right, and this is where the whole narrative of the movie breaks down, because this is kind of the issue. They want to fight evil, but they're not willing to call evil evil or stake a moral foundation from which to judge evil. Does that, you guys tracking with what, like, kind of what I'm getting at? Like if you look at this like in the context of like American popular society, like woke versus right-wing stuff, it's kind of like the super leftist woke people have no problem making moral judgments of people on the right, but they don't give us a fixed moral reference from which they make those judgments, so they can't be applied to themselves. Does that make sense?
Kind of, yeah.
They don't adopt or they don't pick a thing and say, this is why you're wrong. Like you hear people say, well, you can't put kids in cages. According to what standard? The law? We don't seem to care about the law when it matters to these things. The Bible?
Right.
We don't seem to care about, when it matters to these things. And that's kind of the issue here, is that like she just accepts, we don't know what her flaw was. We don't know what it was that created the marks on this main character. But
the main character, she didn't have anything to do with it per se. It wasn't necessarily her sin that caused that. She was just half demon, half human. Whereas the sympathy comes into play is in the main Saja boy, Grim Reaper demon, whatever, where he did something evil, and she's just like, "Oh, you're misunderstood." To some extent. So,
but
there
that's
is
it.
like a
every other
distinction.
person who has the marks, though, that's the
Right.
point. Every other person who has the marks has a backstory.
Right.
But we don't
and that is
know
that
hers
is kind of
because she's not forced to wrestle with it, right?
Well, that's a theme I think that throughout movies that we're seeing, and man, if we want to get deep into like more of analyzing movies, where bad guys are not bad, evil is not evil, right? It is just misunderstood. It is not. You can't call something bad because you don't know the background, you don't know somebody's story. So why should you judge?
Yeah, but when you call a movie
has this weird.
But when you call a movie K-pop Demon Hunters, that sounds like a moral tale. Like, you have not only identified there are bad guys and good guys, you have said this is a movie about hunting bad things with K-pop, which will allow whatever.
Right.
But it's a bait and switch.
So here's the thing, man. With that, it's really ironic that they bring K-pop in and these K-pop stars, and they portray these girls in a way that is completely the opposite of the reality of the dark back behind the scenes of K-pop. These and like they are essentially, they have control over their own schedule, they have control over their own music, they have control over all these things. In the movie, they're just having a good time, and there it is. But in reality, I mean, K-pop, and I mean, listen, we got the problem too in the United States where we elevate, American Idol and The Voice and everything. We elevate these people to become musicians and superstars and everything else. And our music industry is predatory, and there's a lot of bad things that happen. However, never is the individual the product that can be thrown away as seamlessly as a banana peel, because that's
Yeah,
what
it's
happens in
industrial.
K-pop.
Well,
It is consumerism to the extreme. They raise up these kids starting at 13, encourage them to do plastic surgery, to look a certain way, to not eat, and they end up having these mental issues, mental disorders. They don't get paid, and it's all because they are a product. And this is what happens when you remove even the slightest, when you have absolutely no moral foundation for doing something that is consumerism. At least in the United States, we're like, okay, they're kind of people. And even the far left will say, well, Britney deserves rights, even though she's kind of insane. Britney Spears, right? She deserves some sort of rights, and she's her own autonomous person. You'd never hear that in the K-pop country or in Asia or anywhere that this type of stuff is popular. And I think that's the interesting thing, is because that same moral ambiguity is also applied here in this story too.
Yeah. I think, I mean, because that's the whole issue right now. It's funny because things are kind of cyclical that way. Like, we're old enough to remember the boy band, girl band craze of the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Like, and there was this industrialization of, creating these groups. I mean, there's multiple documentaries about this now, like the guy who basically put together Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, right? And all of that. And that's what's going on. Like, there is a whole documentary on K-pop, by the way, that talks about how this is South Korea's plan is to be the leading exporter of entertainment. And so they have ramped up to an industrial scale the production of these groups, and they'll basically run them until there's something new. And the show kind of captures that, because that's really what is that's kind of like the second act turn of this, is that the devil, he's like, he sends a boy band and he's like, hey, we can't compete with them because, the people love the music, they want to sing. And so it's like, hey, how about instead of capturing their souls, we capture their hearts? And they, send this boy band that basically robs them of their fandom and kind of sets off the insecurity that like leads to, the third act,
right. And ultimately landing at, I can also be a half demon, half human, and that's cool.
This is a movie about Nephilim K-pop singers.
Yeah. Look,
and we saw
might
how
be kind of digging a little bit deep in, but at the same time, that's what I saw. It's like, look, the Nephilim are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, man, the demons. They're trying to get their say. They're trying to get their say in society. One of the interesting things, with this is the way that it's rated, because it's rated as a PG film. And there are certain things in here which would, make you wonder. So if you look at IMDb, in different countries, it's different. Sometimes PG, it's age levels.
Singapore, that's what I'm talking about. Man. Singapore. Holding it down.
Singapore made it PG-13.
That's what I'm talking about. Way to go, Singapore.
So there are certain
Chinese Christians.
Certain scenes where, and we don't have to go through it and play it, but like there's certain scenes where these guys, it's all about this guy's, literally his name is Abs, and
play this, because my brother. So this is funny. So I told my brother, and I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Did you even see this? Like, you guys may hear this in the comments. You may not know. You may know. If you're on social media or whatnot, and you see this, like, if you guys probably know that the term corn is analogous for the word it rhymes with, and that is like a lot of people had no clue that was. And so some people are watching this, and like my brother watched through that whole section, and he was like, dude, I had no idea. He's like, I just thought it was just weird anime stuff. And I'm like, no, dude, like any Gen Z kid watching this would have known exactly what that meant. And it just flew right under the radar. So that, if you're watching this, your parents are like, dude, I had no idea that was there. Yeah. And that's like, so you got a PG rating, but you're doing thinly veiled references to, pornography and, teenage or adult lust.
This is interesting. So it's got a couple of things on here where it talks about, it says that it doesn't have any sex or nudity. Not true. Technically, if you want to be completely, call us prudes, but there's certain things in there that are just, there. I kind of like, and the thing is with this, I think as long as you have an account with IMDb, you can add stuff. One of the comments, I think that they're talking about, well, here's the spoiler, and Jinu's sacrifice is sad, and this might make younger viewers sad. This last comment here, your idol performance may hypnotize your children and take their souls like the characters in the movie. I mean,
we want you as
if
a
it's
fan
on the
of
internet,
our
it must
channel,
be true,
random
right?
commenter. Can we poach
I love the internet
fans
so much.
from IMDb? I think I'm on to something here. We need to just start going into IMDb like comment sections and just replying, you seem like our kind of person. Have you considered subscribing to the I'm Telling God About This podcast? Yeah. If you're listening to this and you're the type of person to leave snarky, basically, or heavily biblical comments on, secular websites, you're our type of person. All right, Nick, thoughts on the thinly veiled.
Let us know what you guys think. I mean, and we posted the link of the podcast to some other takes and everything, and I think that it'd be interesting to see what you guys' take on this is. And also, does it change your view being Gen Z or millennial or older? Does it change your view being a parent or being, not a parent? Like, what is some of the things I think slaps us in the face as fathers with daughters? It's like, okay, there's certain things that we're protective of, but that might not be like in your face, the first time through. So, I'd be interested in seeing what people's thoughts are and comments are on that.
Yeah, I mean, from my vantage point, I can't help but tangent us towards the historical aspects of the fall of the Roman Empire and how stories like this give me more reason to lose faith in humanity. But, I was talking to my brother about this the other night. It seems like, yes, we are seeing a rise or a pendulum swing with conservative values, and I'm all here for that whole ride. But that does not negate the 50% of the other half of the United States and the rest of the world and the slow slide towards debauchery, destruction, and death that we still see happening as a massive culture. And I was thinking about the timing, relevance, and similarities of, like, during the fall of the Roman Empire, there was a uprising of monastic movements and Christian educations, higher institutions of education that basically built these bulwarks to essentially keep out the crazy culture and survive the thing that was burning down all around them. And in an interesting sort of way, when I hear stories like this or I'm engaging on culture at this level, it just makes me think like we gotta double down into our communities, into our local church bodies, into the places where we are human on human interacting, whether, it's followers of this channel, people that are engaging with this kind of content, your own local small groups and communities, because man, it's dangerous and dark out there. And I just want to go build a castle on the hill and say, all right, Christians, let's compound it up and let's hang out. And I don't know. It's a mess out there.
Build the kingdom.
That clip we watched the other week of this, that corn eyeball, very sensual, soft pornographic thing being showcased to the children. That's a scene from this movie. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that is correct.
Well, and I would disagree with the rating on it. It should not be PG because you were talking.
There's nothing about this that should be PG.
All the ratings are wrong.
This is a hard 13.
I don't know about a hard 13.
A hard 13.
Hard, dude. Top Gun is a hard 13. That was in the 80s too.
Top Gun is PG.
Top Gun 1 is a hard 13.
That's what I'm saying.
Top Gun, the newest Top Gun.
If I only have to fast forward through one scene,
I know.
I'm gonna give it to him. No, I agree with you. I agree. Top Gun 1 does have that one scene. We cut that out pretty quick with some creative editing. However, no, you're right. But here's what's frustrating, right? Is that I really enjoyed. So here's what I will say about this, because talking with my brother is an artist and he loved it for this. Is it's frustrating because Sony is doing creative things. So I'm all about creative storytelling and creative narratives. I'm all about original content, and this is that. And I think that part of the reason that it's been so popular is that the world is hungry for original content. It's an original style of animation. There was another movie that came out during COVID, something Robots versus the Mitchells or something like that. Strong LGBTQ themes in that. Hilarious movie. Don't show your kids. But that's what's so frustrating is if you're a full grown adult and you watch this, you're like, yeah, I'm capable of sifting through this, but
right.
Still
it's
not
clearly aimed at influencing children. And that's what, yeah.
it's the same thing we deal with in the world. Like, there are certain things where, I mean, I was going back trying to think, I was trying to compare and say, was there anything this in your face of sexually suggestive in PG rated films in the 90s? There was nothing.
No.
I mean, you could say,
I will say,
maybe.
That's not true.
Do you have
what?
That's
what?
not true.
that was rated PG?
Perfect example, Sandlot. We were just I'm not going to give the details of the example, but there was someone
you talking about
that was saying,
the drowning scene?
Hey, this movie's great. You should put it on for your kids. We put it on for our kids all the time. And Brittany, I come home one day and she's got on Sandlot and the boys are watching it. And it's like the scene where they discover a pornographic magazine and girls. And it's like...
In the Sandlot?
You forget.
I totally missed that part.
You forget.
You're right.
Oh, I thought we were talking about like the...
It's surprising as an adult with a parent, as a parent with children now.
Okay.
I go back and I'm like, none of this flies, man.
Dude, no, it's true.
It really doesn't.
No, but here's what's funny. It's different, though. Here's the thing, right?
Which, to be frank, Ninja Turtles, there's still some solid, good.
There are good ones. All the Ninja Turtle movies still hang.
There.
But even those movies, like, here's the difference, right? Yes, where movies, especially in like, I think there was nudity in PG movies. Like, no. I want to say, or PG-13. Yes, no, there was. There was.
13 like, maybe, yeah.
13 for sure.
But that's more recent.
There was nudity, but you used to not. You don't think you can have nudity in PG-13 anymore. I think it has to be R for that, right? So like Logan's Run, classic old one, PG-13, definitely nudity in that.
Or what about that one with Tom Hanks, Big?
Oh like, yeah.
Dude, but that was what predatory, man. Like, what the heck was that movie about? But, was that PG-13 or was that R?
I don't remember.
So many things.
You can look that up. But here's the difference, right? Like, okay, it's one thing to have mature themes. I'm not suggesting that nudity in movies is good at all, right? But like, let's put it this way. A natural, like telling a story, an authentic story. Let me rephrase this. Telling an authentic coming of age story about teenagers has that element in it. Now, how it's handled can be appropriate or inappropriate.
Yeah. I completely disagree. It doesn't have to have that element.
Here's the thing.
No. It does. What I mean by that is like at that age, you are figuring out what is going on, like with your body, with human relations.
Right.
I'm not saying it has to be handled in like, I'm not saying that any of that needs to be shown on screen, so to speak, right? But
not like blatantly.
But nodding to the fact that like, I guess this is what I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to say this in a way that's not advocating or saying that this is good, but
don't avoid reality to tell a story.
Correct, but what I'm saying is like I'm saying that it's not perverse.
I agree with that.
In other words, like let me put it this way: take the example you talk about with like some kids finding a dirty magazine. It was portrayed as a shameful thing in the movies, in not some really. not in all, but because it's hidden is usually the thing. Like it's up in, it's not something that's like out and in
chewing
the open.
some red man on a roller coaster was hilarious. And lesson learned. Guess how much red man I chewed? None.
Zero,
and I went through the military. Never did any kind of stuff.
But my point is that it's portrayed in the context of what was societally acceptable in some cases, not all, but in a lot of cases. Especially some of that stuff is not portrayed as something that is okay or in the open or normal. It was like deviant behavior is generally characterized as deviant historically compared to what we see now, where we have deviant behavior being not just normalized, but celebrated.
It was being celebrated, yeah.
That's what I'm saying is different. I'm not disagreeing that it's wrong and that it shouldn't be in the movies, right. Nick. I completely agree with that. I don't think there's any place for it in that context.
Well, I mean, per this line of conversation, even in the older movies, your comment about deviant behavior and how it's portrayed in any form of media is a subliminal message, I would say 90% of the time, that is creating or curating a palette, a curiosity, a dangerous level of introductory exposure to something you know nothing about. Yeah. And it's like, I don't understand how there's anything edifying in that level of storytelling, no matter what is happening.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, I'm not saying that it's edifying at all. What I was just saying
I know you're not saying that.
I can understand
I'm saying it was just there and it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a
just mean
difference. Like
secular
what
side.
you're
Go
saying,
ahead, Josh.
I think what you're saying, Josh, is there's if it's directed towards children, that's one thing, right? But being able to an adult and being able to sift through certain things, like Josh and I are a fan of horror movies, and we can sift through it to find the value, because horror movies do a really good job at identifying actual good and actual evil, right? And that's something that's pretty cool. You get like to see in like,
Well, it's
no
almost
movies
non-existent
are doing
in
that, right? It doesn't
secular
exist
culture, right.
in secular culture right now.
It's
Yeah.
novel
So,
because it still exists in that regard.
I'd say that there's a different conversation, right? If I'm going to the movies with my family and we're going to watch, a particular movie that might be questionable, probably not a good idea, and not something that if my wife and I are going to a movie, we can watch a movie and be able to sift it out, right? And so that's all I'm saying. That's the distinction. And so
Nick's job as the director of Proven Men is.
I know, right?
No, dude, I'm literally Rolodexing like recent stories. Like we've been taking our children down the classics they gotta be great. Like let's go OGs and these family films.
There's some bad ones.
And I'm like watching them. I feel like we were watching the Three Musketeers. And it's still,
Oh
I'm like, what is happening right now?
You should remember.
Never mind.
You
I can't
should
even
remember
repeat
this, Nick.
the line.
Do you remember when I got my minivan? Do you remember when I got my Sienna
No.
and it had the DVD player in the back? And well, anyway, we were driving somewhere, right? I had like 4 DVDs, right, in there. And one of the ones that I got was the Three Musketeers. And I was super excited about this. And because, I love that movie. But there is a very inappropriate scene in that movie.
Yeah.
That is made by Disney and is PG.
But that's my point. That's literally my point. My point is that back to my Rome comment, which I do think is incredibly pertinent. Like I can't find the argument that makes any sense for why you should be allowing your children to consume today's media or almost any day's media.
Oh,
it's
you're for
it's
sure.
not okay.
There's certain,
golly, man.
I would say the thing that is interesting for me is when I was growing up, the things that were more horrific to know, like, oh my gosh, he was exposed to that type of media, is if like witchcraft or the occult was on TV, or I saw some sort of. I mean, that was like, oh no, there's witchcraft in that, or be careful, Jumanji. That's
Yeah, people like. It is amazing to me. The things that it is interesting to me. I'm sure some of you guys who are parents can attest to this as well. There's like, it is always fascinating to me the things that certain people like tend to major on and minor on when it comes to what they let their kids watch, right?
Right.
So like inside of my household, violence does not really bother me.
I'm the same way.
Right? My kids can watch violent things. It's part of the nature of the work that we're involved in and the ministry we're involved in. So I don't really shelter them too much from that.
Well, violence has also been a component of human history for like the entire time of the world.
So within reason, right? But I'm not talking about like, graphic people being dismembered or anything like that, right? But just like, Lord of the Rings, for instance, right? But, things like any sort of relationship-based, like teenage angst relationship stuff is just like a hard no-go in my house. Like,
what's interesting is like the kinds of things that we were sheltered from to watch. Like, for instance, couldn't watch Power Rangers or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You couldn't watch Power Rangers or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
We have such.
There was 3 boys in our home, right?
I was the
including
most sheltered
me, right?
child
So there's 3
ever,
of us,
and I could watch Power Rangers.
Look, first time
It was
first time that my. Okay, yes, which I didn't realize until after, like an adult. I was like, oh my gosh, Rita is not speaking English. But first time I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, my brother and I jumped off the couch. He landed on me, sprained my ankle. And my mom was like, nope, not going to happen. So it's like, okay, my fault. At the same time, my parents brought into our home My Girl, which was emotionally traumatizing.
It was so
How
bad.
dare you,
I
Mom,
know.
Dad? Okay, first of all, terrified for bees until I was like 13. Okay,
yeah.
Second,
Anaphylaxis. Can't even
and
say
every single one of you Gen X parents out there, okay, and Boomer parents out there, what were you thinking in 1993 taking a 6-year-old or younger to Jurassic Park where these raptors are chasing children. I was having a conversation with my wife the other night, and we're like, that was a traumatizing, reoccurring nightmare.
Are you kidding me?
Like, dude, I couldn't even get out of my room to go to my parents' room to say I'm afraid because the raptors were going to get me.
We're going to get you. That was the first movie I saw in the theater. That was the very first movie I saw in a movie theater, was Jurassic Park when it was released. Loved it. Amazing. I'll tell you some movies I could have lived without. You already mentioned one, My Girl.
Yes.
Fly Away Home. Homeward Bound.
Oh my gosh. Was that wait, Fly Away Home, was that with the kid from Jurassic Park and Elijah Wood?
Yes.
Bro.
Or the geese. Oh, no, you mentioned Elijah Wood.
I watched it again.
Free Willy.
Dude.
Could have lived without that.
Oh my gosh.
Why?
I tried to make my kids watch Free Willy. The whole opening of Free Willy is just like juvenile delinquency, and I'm like, oh, so this is what my childhood was like. You start to understand if you go back. Listen,
Dude
if you're
was eating
listening
a
to
cake
this,
and a cardboard box at the same time.
and the spray painting on the side of the stick. No, listen, my kids are like, why is he alone? Where are his parents? And I was like, it was a dark time. Like, listen, if you're younger,
it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children
are?
They're training killer whales. That's what they're doing.
That's exactly. If you are watching this and you're like in your early 20s or maybe younger, and you're like, this makes no sense to me. I'm just gonna frame for you what it was like being, between the ages of 10 and 16 in the 90s. Okay, go watch the first Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh, it's
okay.
so good.
Oh yes.
Yeah, the opening
There's a second one.
Childhood
Phenomenal.
delinquency in that, though.
What in the first?
Are you kidding me? The foot?
The
We're
Foot
like
Clan?
literally
it's
just
like Pinocchio's
criminal
Island. Like,
I know.
they're
Yes. That's what I'm
skateboarding,
saying.
eating pizza,
Yeah,
learning martial
Call that
arts,
family this
smoking
and that over there
cigarettes.
and that down
Yeah.
there. You call that family?
Yeah.
Okay, Casey Jones.
Dude, we
Oh
have
my
got
gosh,
to
bro.
do movie series on this channel.
We
I feel
do.
like it would just be so fun.
If you want a
From,
movie
like,
series-
Christian
I think-
perspective. Yeah, leave a
Let us
comment.
know. We're gonna do it anyway, but
Was that Ernie Reyes Jr.?
dude, Casey Jones, most underrated.
I know.
So good.
Freaking awesome.
Dude,
Anyway.
we took a hard turn on Nerd Corner on this episode.
But yeah, no, like, so there were
still on
some,
topic.
that was what it was like, right? So that,
Black
and then
Mirror.